Hello, and welcome to The Gun Show by Mama Bear Defense. The Gun Show is a show where we talk about guns, in particular, the legislature that is associated with firearms and how we can use them to better bless our lives. I'm your host, Crystal Reese, and I just wanted to thank you guys for sharing and posting and commenting and subscribing. We had a milestone last week of 750 downloads, so I'm pretty happy. Thank you for continuing to seek knowledge with firearms. Okay, you know what I'm not happy about? Is Senator Sheila Jackson, because that lady she's something else. That's all I'm going to say there. If you don't know who she was the woman back in 2019 who said an AR-15 is the same weight as 10 moving boxes. I will share the video. You don't have to take my word for it. Dun, dun,
dun. I've held an AR-15 in my hand. I wish I had it. It is as heavy as 10 boxes that you might be moving.
It is as heavy as 10 boxes that you might be moving. And she wishes she hadn't. I mean, man, that is just super heavy gun. Okay, in her defense, I did some math here. What is the weight of a moving box? The average 12-inch by 10-inch by 8-inch box, if it's just a plain box, is 0.61 pounds, okay? So an empty cardboard box, 0.61 pounds. Well, if you times that by 10, move the decimal, whoop, bringing you back to school. So it would be 6.1 pounds, 10 empty boxes. Well, guess what? The average weight of the AR-15 is, up over here, 6.5 pounds. So she is not wrong. 10 empty cardboard boxes is about the weight of an AR-15. So, I mean, I guess she wasn't lying. However, 6.5 pounds is very light. I mean, we all know I like to make the babies, and that is the weight of a newborn. And if she struggles, she wishes she hadn't held that 6 pounds, then she's got some problems, and she's got bigger problems than guns, that's for sure. But anywho, it's kind of funny that if you do the math, she's kind of not wrong. Anywho, so this senator out of Texas has presented a bill. I'm sure you've heard of it. If you're in the gun world, you've heard of it. And we are going to go into it. If you haven't, now you'll know. It's called HR 127. This is a horrible bill. If this was passed, this would be horrendous. I do not feel, and I guess I'm doing my feelings, I don't believe this will pass. I believe it is just throwing a long shot at the wind. However, it is horrendous and it still needs to be addressed. And I want you to know what it is. Okay, so this bill is called Sabika Sheikh Firearm Licensing and Registration Act. So Sabika Sheikh is a young woman who was killed in May of 2018 at a shooting near the Santa Fe High School in Houston. It was a pretty gnarly mass shooting. 10 people were dead and 13 others were wounded. It was not good. So she's evoking emotion, naming it after one of these victims of this horrible crime, attaching it to the firearms. Okay, what does this bill entail, right? So first, it would require you to obtain a license to own your firearm. Also, you would need to register all of your firearms. And then the third follow-up is you would have to obtain insurance to have a firearm. Okay, the licensing bit. What does that entail? Basically, you have to be 21 years of age, you have to go through a background check, you have to go through a psychological evaluation, you have to pay the United States, the feds, $800 to obtain this license. You cannot transfer firearms with another person or give ammo to anyone without obtaining a special certificate from the Attorney General. Yeah, your Attorney General's over these licensing. You have to have complete 24 hours of training for this license. So the $800 just for the feds, that's not including how much would cost for your psychological evaluation, this 24 hours of training. This would be a huge financial barrier for the American citizens to be able to exercise their Second Amendment right. It would it'd be horrendous. And they're just going in there. It's for most law-abiding citizens, it wouldn't be an issue. I believe that you'd be able to do it. You just have to pay all this money, and then you have to wait for whenever the Attorney General can get to it. I mean, that's asking for failure. Okay, there were some other aspects of this license. Oh, you get to renew this license in 3 years. Then you get to pay it all over again. In additional to taking 8 hours, paying for 8 hours of training. And yeah, get to just pay your money. That was the worst part about California, was I just felt like it was so expensive to get your concealed carry permit and then to maintain your concealed carry permit. You were paying on average $100 a year. And yeah, I guess that's less than $10 a month, but I just felt like that was a ridiculous sum. And in the beginning, it's more than $100 a year, but the upkeep was $100. Okay, here's your fee, $800. I'm scrolling through the bill here. She puts some limitations of the different types of firearms you can have in here. Cuts out the Colt AR15, revolving cylinder shotguns. Just discussing Beretta AR-70, folding or telescoping stocks, these are things we have to register. Anything that has a pistol grip. Okay, a grenade launcher. All right, that makes sense. Semi-automatic pistol that has an ability to have a detachable magazine. She also limits the magazine capacity to 10 rounds. So you could not have anything above 10 rounds would be illegal. Here's some crazy nonsense. The penalties for violating this. If you're saying I'm not going to comply and just going to keep my guns and not mess with this, well, you get a fine no less than $75,000 and not more than $150,000, and imprisoned for no less than 15 years and not more than 25 years. The smallest one is a $5,000 to $10,000 fine. And 922 BB3. Let's see what that one was. Just curious. What's the smallest fine there? Okay, well, I don't have time to scroll through on the thing. But anyhow, so that's this horrible law. And then the other part that sucks is the making people get insurance, because that's a monthly thing you have to pay. It's just more money, more ways to block people from being able to protect themselves. That's the only people it impacts. I've been very blessed financially, so I could make it work. Like I could. I could read all the loopholes, I could make it work. But for someone who might not be in a financial situation, or maybe they're not they don't like to read all of the laws and whatnot, and they're just not very versed in that, then they're not going to go through the steps to be able to protect themselves. And it's just stupid. Like I said, I do not believe this will pass. It is way too extreme. It is not passing. However, the fact that it's been introduced is just disturbing and stupid. Well, a transition from something not so disturbing and stupid. Tennessee introduced some legislation that it's SB 227 and HB 103, which would provide annual training for students in the earliest appropriate grade through grade 12 current firearms education. Not awesome? Like, it would be added to their school curriculum to require schools to provide gun safety training. I think that's great. I love that. I think that is a good step. That's a step in the right direction. How many of us grew up around guns? I know me, grew up around guns and didn't know the firearm safety rules. I didn't. Straight up did not. I learned those when I was becoming an instructor. I mean, I knew common sense, but I had never heard rule number 1, rule number 2. I'd never heard those before. And I just wasn't exposed. I was, just family who, here's a gun, don't point it at people and keep your finger off the trigger. That was about it. So I think that's great. Go Tennessee. Hopefully that passes. Firearm Policy Coalition. If you haven't heard of them before, they're the people that you want to throw your money at for your rights right now. They have been doing so much good work for firearms, for our freedoms. And one of the things they're working on is they set up a court, a filing against Maryland against their bump stock ban and claiming it's unconstitutional. Why we want this to pass is because good old Trumpy passed, he signed, I believe it was an executive order banning bump stocks, just for no reason, making all the people felons overnight. Sorry, I scratched the mic. And if this is deemed unconstitutional, then that is also unconstitutional. So then bump stocks are back in. Not like, have you ever tried shooting a bump stock before? I have, and they are not intuitive and kind of difficult to work. So I think just like the Sheila Jackson bill, they're not logical. Where is there any basis saying, okay, if you have a bump stock on this gun, now guns with bump stocks have killed more people than ever? Like, that is not, there's no logic, there's no facts behind that. It's all infringements, and it's just trying to eat away at freedoms. And that's why I'm against it. Not that I really care so much about bump stocks. I think they're silly. And like I said, I was unsuccessful trying to get it to work like properly and holding my finger. Anywho, but cool. There's that. Some Massachusetts gun bills that suck are basically the same. What kind of? The same as the HR 127, just not as psycho. So it's HD 135, bans most firearm sales and transfers between private individuals without first paying fees and obtaining government permission. So you couldn't pass, a father couldn't pass his son to a gun to his son without paying and registering that. And then it requires liability insurance for gun owners. So like I said, another financial gun grab. First, you have to pay your money. If you want to give your gun to someone, you have to pay the state, and then also you get to pay your money for insurance. You probably should have insurance. Maybe I'll do an episode about insurance. Insurance is not a bad thing, but forcing it is a bad thing. for the same reasons. I feel like I'm hitting I'm beating a dead horse. Oh, that's kind of a interesting expression, but you're just forcing people to spend money. Not everyone has that money, and it should not be a privilege for the middle or upper class. It should be a right for everyone, all status, all financial statuses. The latest California stupid is you have a senator, Dave Min, from Orange County, who wants to ban gun shows. No more gun shows, because he has been reading so much propaganda and he doesn't realize that there is no such thing as a gun show loophole. But, you know, honestly, we'll just let them think that there's a gun show loophole, because the real truth is that private sales do not need background checks, where FFL, or if you buy it from non-private, you do need to do a background check. And I don't really want people to jumping on that and being like, wait, we can't let people do private sales like Maryland, or was that Massachusetts? Massachusetts that said, okay, you can't do private sales. That's the truth, because yeah, that's when you cut out the background check. However, if you do a private sale to someone who is restricted, that's called a straw sale, I believe. And I know the result is a felony, so don't give your gun to someone or sell your gun to someone who is a felon. Do your research. Good news in Utah with the permitless carry or constitutional carry. February 1st, the Senate placed this on the second reading calendar. So it is in the Senate. They're looking at it. It is moving forward. You want to know what else is moving forward? Arkansas, with their Stand Your Ground law, SB 24, is also moving forward. Looks good. I think the House has seen it. Senate started it. And now it's in the Judiciary Committee of the House. And yeah, I think they're going to improve that. So Stand Your Ground is basically saying you do not have a legal obligation to run away. Some states say, hey, if bad guy is coming and you can run away and avoid the situation, then you legally have to. Like, you will get in trouble in court if you didn't run away. Stand Your Ground says, no, you don't have to run away. You can stand your ground and protect yourself, which is important for self-defense laws. You don't want to get in trouble just because you decided to protect yourself instead of run. Also, what's interesting is Arkansas is one of very few states that don't have, or no, just kidding. There is actually quite a bit of states that still do not have the Stand Your Ground, but I'm glad it's moving along. Speaking of permitless carry, Montana, this is where they're at. They are at the third Senate reading is scheduled for the 3rd, February 3rd, the day that we're releasing this. It actually passed the second reading with 30 votes yes, 20 votes no. So I mean, that's not even really close. It's 10 votes in favor of yes. So it is looking good for Montana. Woo! I love good laws. They get me excited. And I like talking about good gun news because we hear a lot of scary gun news. And there are a lot of forces that are against gun laws, but a lot of people, a lot of our congressmen are sneakily protecting our rights because they know that we care about it. Okay, we should just say that President Biden is the ultimate salesman for guns. More than 2 million guns were sold in January. Oh, sorry. Yeah, so January was a record-shattering month again for gun sales. Woo! And I like that. Actually, I was not a statistic for January, or was I? Maybe I was. I don't know. It was the end of January, beginning of February when we got our latest gun. Kansas went to expand their concealed carry to 18-year-olds. So right now in Kansas, an 18-year-old can open carry. Just, yeah, there you go, open carry from 18 on. Kansas is a constitutional carry state, so anyone 21 and older can slip that gun in their pocket, no problem. Kansas is looking to expand the freedoms to 18-year-olds to be able to constitutional carry, which would be crazy cool. Like, I don't know, I haven't done the research, but I don't know if other states are doing that, if they have allowed that yet. So it would be interesting to see. There are lots of people saying that that's scary and that's really sad, but I obviously don't think it would be a problem. Guess we'll find out. I think it's going to pass. It's looking like it's going to pass. Now we got South Carolina adding an open carry bill. So South Carolina is one of, I believe it was five states that do not allow open carry. And shocker, some of the states that do not are Illinois, New York, California. Some of these states are a little bit more extreme, and South Carolina is looking to get off of that list of doesn't want to associate with them crazies over there. It is House Bill 3094. And that is our news for the week. I actually tried, we were going to bring on our guests last week, but there was some scheduling conflicts and some miscommunication and whatnot. So our guest couldn't come. But next week, I'm pretty sure our guest is going to come, and we are going to talk ballistics and ammunition and understanding different aspects of ammunition to consider. So, and they're a mild expert. I mean, they don't work for the FBI or anything, but I do think they're pretty knowledgeable in that. So it'll be pretty cool to pick their brain. Let's end with the Armed Citizen. You're welcome for singing. We have a mother in Sugar Land, Texas. She defended herself and her 8-year-old child when an armed robber forced his way inside their residence. She was asleep when she awoke to a noise from the back door of her home around 4:30 a.m. She grabbed her gun, went to investigate, and she found the back window smashed in, and a man was crawling through. So she was fast, because I mean, I feel like it wouldn't take too long to crawl through a window. She shot the intruder, striking him in the chest. He said, "Oh crap," ran away, and then she called the police. Police were able to track him down from the blood, and then they took him to the hospital and charged him. So, woohoo! That happened on the 22nd of January. Another life saved from exercising the right of personal protection. So that's this week. Thanks, guys. Thank you for the listens and your support. Love ya, and I will see you next week. Bye.